Hello, my name is Greg Nilgis, and I am doing a video today on the TSOS 1911A1 U.S. Army for the Sonoran Desert Institute's FTE 211 Advanced Armorers course. And this is the week 2 assignment. The date is 25 February 2024. So first of all, we'll point out there's no live ammunition in the work area. And I do have some snap caps we'll be getting to later. Firearm magazine feed source is removed and empty. And we'll visually and physically confirm there's no ammo in the firearm. So this is a safe firearm to work on. So off camera, I'm going to disassemble the firearm and we'll be back shortly. Here we have the exploded view of the completely disassembled TSOS 1911A1. And again, no live ammunition within the work area. The only parts that were not removed were the sights and the frame grip screw bushings. At this time, I'd also point out my sources that I used were the Sonoran Desert Institute's FTE 211 Advanced Armorers course week 2 lecture, and as well as that, the SDI Sonoran Scholastic hammer-fired 1911 assembly instructions, which I believe are a holdover from when SDI was doing the 80% lower builds. Okay, back again with our fully disassembled TSOS 1911 A1 U.S. Army. No ammo in the work area. And what we're going to talk about now is the cycle of operation, how it applies to 6 randomly generated parts. And the first one we'll talk about is the ejector. And as we know, the ejector is located on the frame. And the ejector plays a direct role in ejecting the firearm. When the slide recoils, the extractor pulls the case out of the chamber, and it contacts the ejector, which forces it out the ejection port. The next part we'll talk about is the magazine spring. So we may know that in a magazine, a magazine assembly, it plays a direct role in feeding using the tension of the spring on the follower to push the ammunition up into the chamber area. However, the spring only, it is my opinion that it is an indirect operation because it can't perform anything on its own. It needs the entire assembly to do so. So that's why I say it's indirect. The next part we'll talk about is the left grip panel. The left grip panel performs no function on any of the cycles of operation. The firearm can be fired without this installed. This is merely a comfort feature. And the next part we'll talk about is the barrel assembly specifically. And the barrel assembly provides direct support of the cycle of operations in feeding, in chambering, and locking and unlocking. In feeding, as the round is forced up from the spring of the magazine at an angle, it engages this chamfered surface on the lower part of the rear of the barrel. And so that's how it directly applies to feeding. And then when it is completely fed into the area, it goes horizontal, and with the momentum of the slide, it is pushed into the chamber. So it's directly involved in chambering. And then through the magic of the barrel link, the slide stop, and the frame interaction and the slide interaction, when the barrel moves because of these features and the barrel lugs on top of the barrel, how they interact with the cutouts in the inside top of the slide, it directly affects the cycle of operation of unlocking and of locking. And the next thing we'll talk about is a slide stop. We already just did, but the slide stop runs through the frame and is kept in place there. But what goes across the slide stop, I should say, it's slid through the barrel length, so it retains the barrel length securely, and that, as we know, only allows the barrel to move a little bit forward and aft, which allows the barrel to lock into the bottom of the slide if it's moving forward, and if it's moving backwards that little bit, it unlocks. So direct effect on the locking and unlocking. is the slide stop. And last but not least is the mag catch assembly. We have the 3 different parts of the mag catch here, but we'll speak to the assembly. The mag catch assembly plays an indirect role in feeding. So how does that happen? Well, we know that what the magazine does. The magazine is directly involved in feeding, but the magazine could not be retained in the frame if it weren't for the magazine catch holding it in place. So that's how it does that magic. And the magazine catch engages this little groove right here on the side of the magazine. So that is how these 6 randomly generated parts affect the cycle of operation of the 1911. Okay, we're back again with this TSOS 1911A1 U.S. Army, and first thing we'll do is confirm there's no live ammunition in the work area. We'll clear this firearm. The feed source is empty. And doing a visual and physical inspection of the chamber. This firearm is safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this thing through the 8 cycles of operation. And we're going to start off with the magazine and a couple dummy rounds. And we'll insert that into the firearm. And we see we have them sitting there ready to go. So the first cycle of operation is going to be feeding. So what's going to happen is when we release the slide, I'm going to try and slow it with my hand. We will release the slide lock, or slide stop rather. The magazine is going to push upwards on it is pushing upwards on the snap cap, and then the back of the slide will engage the rear of the case and push it forward. That'll begin the feeding step, and then from that point, the round will engage the lower chamfer on that barrel, and from there we'll go to chambering, where the round will be chambered into the firearm. So let's do that slowly, if we can. All right, and we see the snap cap is going, and there it's in the chamber, partway in the chamber, and as I let it go, it'll complete the chambering step, as well as the barrel will lock into the top of the slide assembly. So that was feeding, chambering, and locking. So we'll simulate firing. Again, safe firearm with a snap cap, safety levers off. The firing process would begin with the hammer striking the firing pin striking the primer, and that would initiate the next stage, which is unlocking. And we'll see if I can do it slow enough. There, we saw the barrel drop slightly there. That's the beginning of the unlocking. And we'll go from there to the extracting, where the extractor will grab the case or the rim of the case, and the ejector will push it back. And to complete that, there we go, we see that. And at that time, the slide also cocked the hammer, and we're going to start it all over again with feeding, chambering, locking. Well, I stopped it, so I induced a malfunction. There we go. So locking, and we would start it over again. So that is the 8 cycles of operation: feeding, chambering, locking, firing, unlocking, extracting, ejecting, and cocking for the 1911 platform of firearms. And that completes, I hope, assignment for week 2 of FTE 211, Advanced Armor.